it don't even have nothing to do with the challenge, but it's just the concept itself.
Yeah.
People come on this game show
Not knowing how to swim.
not knowing how to swim,
Being afraid of heights.
being afraid of heights.
They don't know basic pop culture.
They don't know basic fucking math.
That's
They don't know math.
Or how to do a pentagram.
They don't know. It's like shit that we've done as kids growing up. And I know that sometimes they be like, oh, well.
Hey guys, we are back with another video. This time we are going over the Challenge USA episode 2. So let's kick things off right into this. So we pick up the episode with TJ explaining basically this new system, which is called the algorithm.
It's whooping your ass. Algorithm.
Algorithm, where essentially he's letting the challengers know that every challenge will have a different partner, and that no partner will be repeated twice, or the same. You wouldn't have the same partner back to back. So, what do you think of this new twist? Because you wasn't here last time when we was going over it.
I mean, me personally, I feel like it's good because it does prevent people from stacking the deck, essentially, which was sort of kind of like the problem on the main show with the stealing of partners, and essentially kind of like basically like the whole, oh, I got your partner and I know I can't lose them if I constantly win. Whereas like now it's win or lose, you're going to have somebody different every time. So it makes you want to, it forces you to play the game a little bit different, especially with all the alliances and everything, because it's only 4 different shows. And it's like you're forced to work with certain people that you may not have intended to work with at all.
Yeah, and we kind of see that this episode, because that was one of the main things they were saying, that everybody was relying heavily on their show alliance, like, oh, we're part of Big Brother, so we're going to watch out. But now you're in a situation, and Big Brother's tied with Love Island as a partner, and you got to make a choice now. It's kind of like, like you can't rely on, you got to actually know people.
And they also were smart, and I want to commend CBS for this. They were smart to not throw in a bunch of Amazing Race people.
Yeah.
Because the way that it unfolded with James and Caleb being partners, it kind of like forced people to be like, okay, well, we can't just gang up on these 3 because like once it's them, like once they hear or they gone or whatever, that's it. Like, who's left? Our friends. Like, so it's like everybody all buddy now, because it's the first couple eliminations and stuff like that. They haven't really played anything yet. It's one of those things now where it's just like, okay, we're gonna wait to see how it turns out with the whole partner situation, because you can't really rely on your alliance all the time.
So speaking of Kayla and James, Kayla was in her confessional. She mentioned how she didn't want to be partnered with James because it's only 3 Amazing Race people, and she knew that because it was 3 of them, and if they got partnered together, it would just make a bigger target for them. And lo and behold, she get partnered with James. And I mean, she wasn't wrong. Like you said, by them only having 3 people, they really have to be like intertwined with someone else to kind of even give them a fighting chance.
It was a matter of like understanding that they have 3 people. They have no choice but to work with the other shows, but it doesn't work in their favor if they're partnered together, because it's like, well, if
automatic target. And
because
like,
if
we're not
because realistically, if they don't win the challenge and they're up for elimination and they're not like at the bottom, they didn't get last place, but they're to be voted in, it's like realistically what can they offer?
Yeah.
Protection? It's
only
just
three
three
of
of them. What can they offer? They can't give you anything. Because
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, I get partnered with you next week. It's like, okay, or this one of my alliance members gets partnered with you. Okay.
Yeah.
What,
It's
is, like,
still
what does it
too many
do? I
other
just go for the
numbers.
other one.
Yeah, their numbers, like no matter what, they will always be a target. I feel like throughout the rest of the game, because again, like you said, they don't have any leverage. Like, yeah, if we're tied with Big Brother, yeah, that might help us this day. But even then, as we saw later on, that doesn't even matter, honestly, because
No,
at the end of the day,
it doesn't.
It's what you're gonna
The
give
way,
up.
yeah, the way that you play, the way that we're accustomed to seeing players play the game,
Yeah.
just throw that shit out the window. It
Yeah.
doesn't.
This
It
game
doesn't
is really
matter.
about
This game is literally 100% different than every other game because not just of the algorithm and the format of the challenge, but more specifically to the amount of people. Because these guys really, these cast members, they don't really know each other like that still. Like a few of them do, but just because we did one game show together does not mean we're friends. Like the people from Survivor, a lot of them really weren't on the same show. Some were, but some were not. And the same thing goes for Big Brother, whereas half the Love Island crew was together on one show.
Yeah.
And so you got them split between two different shows. It's a little bit easier to manage, but realistically, it's a whole different game.
Yeah. And that's one thing I can commend about this season is like the way they're politicking, the way they're moving, their strategy it's refreshing because they like we're manipulators at the end of the day. We don't care how we look.
Yes.
We're gonna say whatever we're gonna say. We would do whatever we have to do because even Tyson, and we'll get to it later, he's like, y'all are not my friends. I don't care who I gotta send home.
That
baby girl, baby boy.
That was why Tyson was one of my favorite players on Survivor on his couple original seasons.
Yeah.
It was just like I understand how like people approach the game and they want to be friends and you're here with your friends, you make new friends on the show. Fuck all that. It's 200. You're going to split $500,000. We can be friends after. We not friends right now. Like Tyson hit the nail on the head. I don't care about you, what you got going on in your life. What I want to win.
So as we continue to go through the pairs, TJ lets everybody know who's they're partnered with, and then we get to the second to last pairing of Cinco, and his partner is Cache. And then once we get into the house, we talk a little bit about, a group of them talk a little bit about how the algorithm pits everybody on the even playing field because you can't really, like we said, you can't rely on your show. You have to like get to know these other people because you're only as good as your partner for the week. Like if he's bad or if they're bad, you're bad, and it could cost you the game. But Cinco's like he doesn't agree that everybody's on the even playing field because he's partnered with his ex. So I feel like this whole episode was really the Cinco and Cash story of them kind of like it was like I don't know how I want to. Because I like both of them, but I feel like their whole relationship is going to be what really deterred their game because I feel like they know how to work good together, but at the same time, they still have a lot of baggage they're bringing into the house.
I mean, at this point, who isn't bringing baggage realistically? Because if we're going to say Cash and Cinco got baggage, everybody from Love Island at this point that's still there, with the exception of like Shannon had baggage. So like they all have baggage there. It's just a matter of like, okay, who has the most shit to deal with? And of course it's Cash and Cinco because they were a real couple in real life outside of the show. And yeah, Kira and Cashel was, but it didn't last as long.
Going back to Tyson and Justine, they have a talk. Justine was like, "You sent my best friend home." what are we about to do? Like, how are we going to play this game? Like, are we going to work together, or do I need to, cut my ties and start plotting? So they basically come to agreements. Like, Tyson said, I don't care who I send home. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to win. And Justine was like, you know what? I'm trying to win too. They didn't say this to each other, but they come to the agreement. They both trying to win,
Yeah,
so they have to
you can tell
depend on each other.
she might not have liked the move, but she had to respect it because you're trying to win. And at the end of the day, realistically, you are paired up with arguably the strongest dude in the entire house.
Yeah.
So embrace that, because you may have an opportunity to make a final with this dude. You never know. You might need him at some point. But you also have to keep in mind, this is Tyson we're talking about. So you can't really trust anything he says unless you're actually partnered up with him. He's not going to give a shit about you. So and then I also want to discuss one thing. The whole Cash and Cinco thing, the fact that Tiffany got thrown in the middle of it, that was so messy.
Yeah, but I feel like she brought herself into it. She even said that she used her flirtation with Cinco as a way to protect herself.
She could be his mother. she
wants somebody with a wet behind the ear.
But this is also, and it's funny, she didn't learn her lesson. It's the same thing it's the same thing that got her kicked off Big Brother in the first place. She didn't learn her lesson then. She ain't learned it now.
So let's get to this challenge. First off, when TJ said this name, I was like, y'all funny. But the name of the challenge is Yell Boy. And so basically it's Scrabble, essentially. So played in 2 teams at a time. They got to swim to the ladder, climb up the ladder, and then jump onto a spinning buoy, suspended over water. And then they can only take 5 letters at a time. And then once they get the 5 letters, they have to jump into the water and then swim back to the shore. This is where I got a little confused from, because apparently they don't have to build the word until they really feel like they're ready.
Yeah.
But that's essentially what they do. And they redo the process for 20 minutes, and then the team with the most words wins. So, and the team that doesn't win goes straight into the arena. This challenge was pretty, everybody seemed to do fairly good. Their average was 4 to 5 words. We really saw a change when it was James and Kayla's turn. They started off good, but James did drop. He either hit the water wrong, or hit the water hard.
He smacked his back. He smacked his back so hard.
Yeah,
it wasn't as bad as they were making it, and the editors were making it.
It was nothing like Leroy did.
CBS standards, that's bad. MTV standards, we've seen worse.
Yeah, we literally had Leroy face down in the water.
I was gonna say Leroy was basically dead for about 4 seconds. He literally was lifeless in the water, with his face in the water. Kayla and James just completely and utterly just failing at this challenge. Something I've also just expected. But
but what I will say in this preface later on, James is pleasantly surprising me. He is not going down without a fight.
I was just getting ready to say, James, for all that, he wants to play a social game, but he can hang in there physically. He can hang in there and do the challenges, and I respect that. Look, I know he cried, and there's no crying in challenges, but let's give it. He did smack his back against the wall from 10 feet in the air. So let's give him that at least.
Yeah. So unfortunately, they end up losing and becoming the bottom team because they literally didn't get any words.
Everybody else after James and Kayla kind of knew, okay, we just need one word. Fucking dog. We need a 3-letter word.
Yeah, and that's what Enzo and Alyssa was like. At this point, we just need one word.
I'd rather just get one word, because I'm after seeing some performances.
That's one thing I hate about that rule of you don't
The
get
bottom
like,
team always comes in last. Like that
yeah,
bottom
it's
team,
like
like
I
it's just
really
like
like at that point
it
once the
because
bottom team
it
is
didn't
announced,
always happens so early that
yeah,
there's really no pressure from the other teams. Whereas it's like, okay, everybody does good, and then it's like, oh, it's pressure on the last team to not actually come in last, and it's like,
yeah.
ooh,
Because it was pretty much the same thing happened in episode 1, where it was like once Ozzy and Kylan got the guaranteed
yeah.
bottom, everybody
Once
was
they had to
like,
go up
at
the
this
stairs, it
point,
was a wrap.
we're on this podium for 45 minutes, just scaling down.
Yep.
Like, as long as our math is right, we're good at this point. Because honestly,
Absolutely.
yeah. I mean, it's good strategy, but at the same time, I just feel like that's what waters down the challenge. Because it's like, if you're going to compete to win. Like, even if it is like, even if you're guaranteed to stay, just still like compete to win.
What bothered me was Cash said she couldn't swim. You already went out to the buoys. You already swam out there. Just drop in the damn water and hold on to the ladder. And then wait on Cinco to go up and come down and you go back together if it's that serious.
Yeah.
This man had to, she literally said she wasn't going into the water until he said, I need you. Bro.
That's where she got her strength.
Okay, whatever.
That's eye roll.
I'm like, okay. It took him saying, I need you. He probably said I needed you during your relationship and you weren't there. But okay. Okay. All right.
Drag the relationship.
So
I mean, but I get it. I feel like that's why I feel like I'm pretty sure that pairing was pretty much forced. But
yeah, they did that shit on purpose. They purposely did that.
I just felt like, not to Cinco's detriment, but I just felt like he wasn't really being a good partner. Like, yeah, Cash knew what she was getting into, but I felt like
he was talking her up. He was talking her up. He was
like, yeah, Cash.
He was being positive. He was being positive, and I can respect that, because if he didn't care or he wasn't trying to be like talk to her and be happy about it. The way
he was talking to Tiffany versus the way he was talking to Cash was more like an obligation. I gotta tell
Tiffany was trying to throw some ass at him. I respect Melvin. He was gonna follow through with it. I respect it. But at the same time, you still playing in the game. You trying to avoid elimination. So Cash, get your ass now. So I at least appreciate her going for it. And then Cash.
Let's talk about Castro real quick.
I was just like, Castro? Bro.
Before we get into that, Tyson mentioned that he feels like Castro is his biggest threat just based off physical appearance. Yes. He said that he has more definition. And I was like, Tyson, really?
There's a whole football player next to you. Like there's a literal former football player.
Two at that.
Right next to you.
Yeah.
Well, he's not worried about Melvin. Melvin played.
Melvin.
Nobody's worried about Melvin. I would be more concerned with Danny, because again, Danny could have won Survivor.
Yeah.
And he didn't, and that's okay. But Danny may have a good opportunity to win this show. He just ain't showing all his cards yet. And I understand he played the game.
And plus with Castro, it's like both performances he wasn't doing good. Like, why are you threatening? First one, he almost was about to be in elimination too. If Kayla didn't together.
Yeah, she saved him that first.
Kira's name on the board. Like, how hung up is he on this girl?
An idiot. He was in it. When I saw that, I was like, bro.
I was Tiffany in that moment.
I'm like, bro, her name does not count as a word, bro. Like, you can't do that. With Tyson, I think Tyson really shown. First of all, Tyson not showing Tyson has a really different athletic build to him because he's a cyclist and he does all these other things. It's like, that's scary.
Yeah.
It's like long distance running, things that involve swimming and back and forth, that involve heavy breathing. Oh, y'all niggas in trouble. Like he does. Him literally telling Justine at one point, he was like, go ahead, start working. I'm gonna make one more trip. I'm saying, like, bro, you got half the goddamn board.
Yeah.
You got one entire buoy on the thing. Where are you going back for more? Just start making words at this point.
Yeah, he pretty much cleared the buoy. He even said in his confessional, he was like, what you do is you stop. You don't show them that you're breathing hard or whatever the case may be. You just walk past them and give them a wave, and that's going to demoralize them. And I was like, Tyson played a different. He's playing the long game. Like he's like
Tyson, exactly. Tyson know
yeah.
what he's doing, and then to make matters worse, it's like he's not a weak player. He's not just talking the big game.
Yeah.
He done won the first 2 challenges with 2 different partners. If that don't show dangerous, I don't know what does at this point. Like at this point, it's like, okay, even if Tyson doesn't win a challenge,
at this point, if Tyson
do you even throw him into an elimination?
Get him an elimination off that.
Like, do you even throw Tyson? Like, the only reason I would want to go against Tyson in an elimination is because he got the money.
Like you said, Tyson literally ran laps around them. Him and Justine got 9 words, so they are the winners of the daily challenge. It brought Tyson up to 11,000, so he already qualified. At this point, he's the only male that qualified.
Doubly qualified because you only needed 5 grand. He was qualified after the first challenge.
Yeah.
At this point, he doubly qualified, and now he's qualified Justine as well.
Yeah, because Justine now has 6,000. So we get back to the house, and Justine and Tyson are deliberating with James and Kayla. Basically, their mindset is, well, Justine is Love Island, Tyson is Survivor, so we can't really do no Love Island Survivor pairs or that, so we have to do double Big Brother or a Big Brother. Well, they said we'll do the double Big Brother, and their choices was Xavier and Azah or Alyssa and Enzo. James brought up Tiffany and Cashel because, as we heard earlier, when Shan was talking with Sarah, they feel like Tiffany is the leader of the Big Brother 23 alliance and that she has a lot of power in the house. So that's kind of why they decided to throw her name into the boat.
She really doesn't. She really didn't.
Yeah.
She really didn't have any power because they weren't, like, Derek wasn't loyal, and Derek was pissed off at Tiffany because of what happened. Alyssa was pissed off at Tiffany because of what happened. Kylan was pissed off at Tiffany because of what happened, and Kylan made it further than Tiffany on Big Brother. So, like, they were all thinking for themselves. Like, I don't like this whole concept of this Big Brother alliance is like really tough and strong. It's like, it's really not.
Yeah.
So I think them saying, oh, Tiffany's just a leader, realistically, they're all individuals making their own game. Tiffany's seen as the leader because of how she played her original show.
Yeah.
She's a manipulator, but she has already stated that's how she was going to play. So y'all ain't doing nothing but pointing out the goddamn obvious. So
yeah. And again, y'all already played with her, so you should already know how she's not doing anything different. And you should already learn your lesson. So it would be obvious if it was me to be a choice, like, no question. Yeah.
But James was smart to have thrown her name in the hat.
Like I said, one thing about James, he gonna throw another option in there.
He was smart to throw her name in the hat. Only because, granted, I know Cashel was tough, but he almost read Tyson's mind because Tyson knew that he wanted to get rid of Cashel. And if they're willing to go against Tiffany and Cashel, I thought the whole throwing in the whole Alyssa and Enzo thing, I kind of thought that was bullshit because to me, it felt like Tyson already wanted to throw Cashel in the elimination anyway. And then James presented him an option of like, hey, here's Tiffany and Cashel. Consider that. And it's like, well, Justine don't have no ties to him. So does it really affect her anyway? No. It kind of, the edit made it look like it was a deeper issue. And I don't really think that it was. I think it was just like, yeah, all right, we'll take Tiffany and Cashel.
Like I said, James, I think he's playing the way Kylie think he's playing because James studied. He did his research.
Yeah.
He was like, I know these shows inside and out. I know what I need to say, when I need to say it, how I need to say it to save myself. I don't even think he knew he could beat Tiffany and Castle. I think he was just more on like, I need somebody that I can like shake up, I can do something with that if I do win, it like I don't know. He was James.
I think also you had to be mindful, and this is another thing. You have to be mindful of who can your partner outwork.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, Kayla is a much better competitor than Tiffany. And this is not to say that Tiffany isn't a good competitor, because she is.
Yeah, Tiffany just got
she just you just when you're not expecting to go into eliminations or be nominated,
that's when you mess up.
That's you're not mentally prepared, so you're not in the game. So yeah, I think James just, I don't know, it's something about, for me, I love The Amazing Race and I love the competitors they got from the show. And I think that James, for all intents and purposes, he made up for that backflop in the water.
And after this, we see Tyson and Tiffany have a quick chat about nominations. Tiffany says although she's close to Big Brother, she can afford to lose Enzo and Alyssa because she's closer with Azah and Xavier. And then Alyssa also had feelings about this because she was like, I feel like they're throwing me in. So she decides to call Xavier out. And basically she was like, you're leaving me to the wolves. You did this before in Big Brother. Now you're doing it again. You were my best friend. And now, like, what's up? How are you going to save me? And I'm like, girl, he don't owe you anything.
First of all, they weren't friends. They just so happened to be on the same team as when they was on Big Brother. They were fucking teammates. You weren't best friends. But what I will say is Xavier did feel bad for how everything played out. And it kind of also I'm pretty sure he felt guilt because it was like, yeah, we kind of did fuck everybody over, and I was the only nigga who benefited. So yeah, let me try to do a little.
But Xavier is a lawyer, so lying is like in his nature. He knows how to manipulate the situation.
He didn't even say he was a lawyer on the show. That's why I'm so confused, like how she's saying like, oh, we're best friends. He was lying from day one. He never said he was a lawyer until like halfway through the show. Like he never mentioned he was a lawyer at all.
TJ asks Justine and Tyson who they're throwing down. And just like the previous episode, we got the misdirect and the blind side. So they say Tiffany and Castle are going against Kayla and James. And pretty much we see that everybody wanted Tiffany out. We saw that Tyson has spoke to Xavier, Alyssa, and Cash pretty much. And they all was like, get rid of her.
Yeah, they were. Alyssa had no loyalty to Tiffany. Xavier had a somewhat of a loyalty to her, but at the end of the day, he wanted to protect Alyssa. So he was going to do damage control no matter what. And Cash just wanted that lady to stop talking to her ex-boyfriend.
So we get to the arena game. This game is called Knowledge is Powered. So basically teams will pedal on a stationary bike connected to a basically like a power station or whatever. And they have like 6 lights they will have to light up. So each light, basically they pedal and then it'll light up a light. After the second light, it will reveal a code. It was 12, I think it was like
it was 12 symbols. It was 12 symbols.
12 symbols, and then they have to basically memorize the 12 symbols and then replicate it on a little grate. And then the first team to light up all 6 lights and get their puzzles correctly wins the elimination. So from there, basically, James and Kayla are the first ones to get their first puzzle revealed. However, Kayla didn't memorize. James was like, remember the bottom. But for some reason she didn't. And then they ended up not doing that. And then we see Tiffany and Castle just kind of moving through it. Like Tiffany keeping her composure. She had this look on her face like, this is nothing to me. They instantly go to, like, she walked over to the board. She didn't run. She walked and doom.
She was over it. She was over it. And first and foremost, it better be lucky Tyson ass went down there. Wait, that was my first. I was like, y'all lucky Tyson won and was not in last place because you was going home automatically. My second thought was Tiffany was over it, and you could tell Tiffany was not mentally in that elimination at all.
Yeah.
Just off of her body language. Like,
she was really like pissed.
Yeah, she was over it.
Like, oh, I want to show people that I'm weak or whatever. Like, girl, you was seething. Like, you were mad.
She wasn't playing. It wasn't like she was doing bad. It was like she wasn't trying. And like Kasha was really doing
she was overexerting herself.
all of the work.
Yeah.
And it wasn't happening at all. And then I loved how it made it look like James and Kayla, and they said it looked like a Peloton class. I think Derek, it was kind of funny because that's how Peloton classes look. I've seen them. I've seen people on Peloton.
James and Kayla were just having fun. They're stripping, they playing like,
and then
like you would never think they were elimination because they were like the way
Kayla's strategy was also very smart.
Yeah.
She turned the symbols into something that was actually like relatable in real life. Like she said, one's is like a pregnancy test and one's like a dumbbell. So I was like, okay, that's pretty smart. Easy way to remember. Plus, I mean, it's 12 symbols. All you gotta do is just remember your 6.
Yeah,
you're good. So I think that was they did a very, very, very good job, and I was highly impressed.
Yeah, I was. Like I said, James has been really shutting me up because I was
James is next to Tyson. James has been the MVP this season so far.
Yeah, I thought he was first out, but he is still proving me wrong. So I'm pleasantly surprised at what he's putting down.
Yeah.
So like we mentioned, basically they are pretty much back to back, are going through their phases or whatever. However, Kayla and James get to the third one first. Like you said, Kayla ended up really finding her stride and was like, okay, let me memorization wasn't my strong suit, so let me figure out how to make this into something I can use.
Hell like yeah. That shit cost her $1 million on her show, bro.
James and Kayla are our winners, and then Tiffany and Kasha is eliminated. Tiffany ends her confessional saying that, you know, she basically didn't see it coming, but she respects Tyson's gameplay because she was like, okay, I see what you did. I respect it. And then, you know, she told Cinco to call her. So
and told everybody else to kiss her ass. That shit was beautiful. I was like, yep, that's normally how people go home. You just, yep, everybody can fuck off. I get it.
Our fantasy draft. So we are starting with Gigi, who is currently in third place with 192 points. She lost Tiffany this round. Her biggest players were Kayla and James. James gave her 20 comp points. Basically for winning the elimination, and then needed medical help or not medical help.
That would have been bad had she lost James and Kayla. Yeah. That would have been bad. That was wow.
That's how I felt last season. Last episode. I literally had 3 people in the elimination. So she had 3 people this time around. Like either way it goes, she was the losing person. But Tiffany gave her negative 20 points and then 60 confessional points. So it ended her in third place. So I mean, she still got a pretty good team though.
No, she has a pretty good. She still has Enzo. She still got Cash, who's gonna give her a confessional point.
So in second place, we have me with 255 points. So my team's still intact. Besides this episode, I lost Cashel. And then last episode, of course, I lost Sally. But for this episode, my team, Kasha gave me negative 20. Justine was my bread and butter, giving me 30 points and 14 confessional points. First place right now with all his players is you, of course.
All my players. Everybody, look. First episode was about Shannon. She was going home. Tyson done won 2 challenges. David useless and still giving me confessionals.
Yeah, I was like,
Kira gave me a couple confessionals. Alyssa didn't really do anything too special. But
breaking down your team, your biggest player was Tyson, of course. Sarah gave you 10 comp points for mentioning her family and then staying in the episode, and the same thing with Danny mentioning his wife. And same thing with Dominic mentioned his kids.
And he did that shit twice. He's done it. He's done it both episodes. He did it in the first episode, and he did it this one. It's just like he's gonna keep on doing it.
Yeah, confessionals came from Alyssa. She got a lot of confessionals this episode. Your players really didn't get too many confessionals. Overall, like I said, this season I'm thoroughly enjoying. It's been pretty good. But that's it for our recap and review. Make sure you leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and check us out next week. Peace.